Watch 1226 on your side, wherever you go. On your side, this is News 12 at 5:30.
Outrage over a police shooting leads to another night of violent protest in Wisconsin, and today, more public figures are calling for justice.
But first, Georgia as a whole is seeing a drop in new COVID cases, but the numbers in our area are still rising.
That's what the latest data from the state health department says. This map breaks down which counties are seeing increases in the recent weeks. A county in red means there was an increase in new COVID cases over the first 2 weeks of August, and you can see most of our area is in the red.
Sydney Eiberger gives a deeper look at the new COVID trends and what it means for us.
Recent DPH data compares the weekly change in COVID numbers from the week ending August 16th to the week before. Overall, the state seems to be on the right path, but the data shows an increase in almost every single one of our local CSRA counties. But Dr. Philip Kuhl at AU says there's more to the story. He says the latest DPH map is a snapshot in time, a time when the CSRA was at a peak in case numbers. He says Augusta historically has lagged about a week or two behind other parts of the state, which is why some areas like Atlanta show decreases, while ours shows an increase. Dr. Kuhl says since this map came out, our region has been coming down from that peak, which paints a far more reassuring picture.
This is on the decline both statewide and in our community. However, we have to keep up the pressure to make sure that we're doing everything right to keep this under control.
Meanwhile, it's important to remember while our local rates are declining, we're still sitting at a much higher plateau than we were in the springtime. Tonight on News 12 at 6 o'clock, we take a look at some of those other trends and why experts say we shouldn't get too comfortable. Reporting in Augusta, Sydney Heiberger on your side.
Daily cases staying lower than we're used to seeing on both sides of the river. Just over 900 new cases in South Carolina with 18 more deaths. DHEC says yesterday just over 17% of people tested were positive. In Georgia, 2,200 new cases, but more than 100 more deaths. The percent positive now below 11% with more than 2 million people tested.
At our local hospital, 73 new cases at AU Health with 63 people in the hospital there. University Hospital sitting at almost 1,300 total cases and 69 COVID patients right now. It's the first time University has had fewer than 70 COVID patients since back on July 10th. Just 9 new cases today between Doctors Hospital and Charlie Norwood VA. 25 people are in the hospital at Doctors. Aiken Regional sitting at 265 total cases and 28 people in the hospital there.
Today, one of our local school districts announced they're stopping face-to-face learning after just 1 week of classes. Starting tomorrow, Glasscock County will have all students do virtual classes until at least September 14th. Yesterday, the county said 3 students were exposed to a member of their household who tested positive. They also announced 2 support staff who do not work with students tested positive as well.
A couple of our biggest school systems are meeting tonight to talk about changes to the school year. Columbia County's Board of Education meeting at 5:30 this evening. In fact, that just got underway a few minutes ago. They're confirming a schedule change to make Masters Week a normal school week and adding a day off in October. The school year in Columbia County will also end 3 days earlier. Meanwhile, Aiken County School Board meeting at 6 o'clock this evening. They're going to be doing a second reading of the in-school face mask policy, which is part of South Carolina's guidelines. A big topic last time they discussed the policy was enforcement and whether students would have to do online classes if they refused to wear a mask. Much more news ahead after a quick look at the Calhoun Expressway. A nice-looking afternoon. Not very sunny, but at least it's dry, Riley.
Yeah, exactly right, Richard. Luckily, the clouds are keeping us a little bit cooler again this afternoon. We are seeing highs close to 90 here in Augusta despite the clouds, but we are rain-free. The rain is staying a little bit to our north, and most of the rain we're seeing up towards the lake currently in Lincoln, McCormick County is just some light showers, nothing all too heavy. The heavier thunderstorm activity is found to our south and to our east. This is moving inland along the sea breeze front. You can see those storms are getting a little bit stronger and just trying to push further inland. So that's about to affect southern Scranton County, Allendale County. You would be next in line, and other counties like Emmanuel, Jenkins, and Bamberg. This line of storms is going to be moving your way the next hour or so. For us here around the metro, not anticipating much rain through this evening. If those storms to our south can kind of send some outflow, may set off some late evening activity. But in general, not bad, especially up north, upper 70s, low 80s. Take a look at some hotter but drier days ahead in just a little bit.
Today, we're learning the name of a Warrenton man who was shot and killed over the weekend. The coroner says 41-year-old Eric Battle was shot in his side early Saturday. He died at the scene around 1 a.m. It happened on the 300 block of Depot Street off Main Street. Local authorities there requested assistance from the GBI. Outrage over a police shooting of a black man led to another night of unrest in Wisconsin. Fires destroyed a few buildings as protests turned violent in Kenosha last night. The anger stems after a video appears to show police shooting a man, Jacob Black, in the back as he got into a car Sunday. Today, Blake's lawyer says the shooting left him paralyzed below the waist, and it will be a, quote, miracle if he walks again. Police have not released details of what led up to the shooting, but Blake's lawyer says he was breaking up a fight when police arrived. Today, more public figures voiced outcry over the shooting.
I know people get tired of hearing me say it, but we are scared as black people in America. Black men, black women, black kids, we are terrified.
2 officers involved in the shooting are on leave as both Wisconsin's Justice Department and the federal DOJ are both investigating.
Also this evening, 5 firefighters who were hurt in this massive fire in a South Carolina storage plant are all out of the hospital now. This happened at a plant in Chester County yesterday. Crews say it is contained, but it was still smoldering earlier this morning. 5 firefighters were taken to a hospital, 4 of them for heat-related injuries. Now they're all released and in good condition.
The University of South Carolina forcing 2 of its sorority houses to quarantine after a Cobit outbreak. Officials say students living at 2 of its Greek Village houses tested positive for Cobit, but they did not say how many students tested positive or which sororities they were a part of. They also say the cases will not require hospitalizations.
Another university cracking down on parties this year. The dean of Coastal Carolina sent a letter out saying students caught breaking the ban on partying will face consequences. That could include being forced to finish out the semester online. The dean says students need to know their decisions this semester go well beyond the university.
The goal here is to look out for the well-being, not just of campus, but for our community in the area as well. And so we've already started doing some work, to partner with our local police forces and whatnot to make sure that we have that in place.
And students who live on campus caught partying, they could lose their housing contract. Students caught hosting parties could face suspension.
Education Secretary Betsy DeVos and Georgia's
Tropical storm Laura became a hurricane today, expected to bring damaging wind and deadly flooding as it approaches the U.S. coastline in the Gulf.
Janet Shamlian reports from Houston, Texas, where officials are asking people to prepare.
Thousands of people are evacuating the Texas and Louisiana coast as Laura approaches, gathering strength along the way.
We have only a few more hours for people to make sure they take the action that is needed to ensure their safety and the safety of their property.
Residents are streaming out of Galveston as warnings become more dire.
We've got water and we've got food, so I think we're set.
Forecasters are predicting a Category 3 hurricane when Laura makes landfall late Wednesday or early Thursday, with winds around 115 miles per hour.
It's going to be a wind event, there's no question.
Galveston Emergency Management is warning those who don't evacuate will be on their own.
The conditions that make it unsafe for you to be there make it unsafe for us to try to rescue you.
Along with ferocious winds, the storm is expected to whip up a potentially treacherous storm surge. New Orleans is boarded up, and Plaquemines Parish shelters are filling, with social distancing rules in place.
And we're going to stay until they say safe to go back home.
In Houston, officials are tracking the storm's path as the fire department prepares high water rescue vehicles.
This is a serious event, and we need to take it seriously.
Still recovering from the hard lessons of Hurricane Harvey 3 years ago, this time the city is determined to prepare for the worst.
And again, wind at like 150 miles an hour. And Riley, you were saying that a lot of the worst of it is going to be coming over the cover of darkness, happening Wednesday night, right?
That is definitely a big factor with it, Richard, is the timing of that landfall. So looking like late Wednesday into early Thursday morning when, you're right, it's just completely dark, and it's when those worst effects are going to be happening. We're talking wind, surge, and torrential rainfall. Here's a current look at Hurricane Laura. It is expected to continue this west-northwest path for the next 24 hours and make that northern turn later tomorrow evening into tomorrow night. It is still expected to rapidly strengthen over the next 24 to 36 hours before it does make landfall near the Port Arthur area, right along that Texas and Louisiana line. So that's the coastline that's really in that bullseye right now. And if this is a Category 3 storm at landfall, we're talking a lot of devastation, folks. We're talking storm surge over 13 feet in some places, torrential rainfall causing the inland flooding, and then you're talking hurricane force winds, major hurricane force winds, which is going to just cause a lot of devastation. As we head later into the weekend it's expected to get caught in the westerlies and make that eastern stretch towards the mid-Atlantic coast. And this cone keeps it well north of us, but the remnants of this system maybe could bring us some showers late this week into the weekend. But once again, it wouldn't be anything all too impactful for us. Here's a look at the radar view, and the remnants of Marco just kind of skirting across the Louisiana coastline, still bringing them some heavy rain, but nothing that's all too threatening. It's really all eyes on Laura over the next 24 to 48 hours. We have some light showers north of I-20, mainly north of the metro. These aren't really diving south. If anything, they're trying to move toward the north and to the east. The only storm chances we would have here in Augusta is going to be these storms to our south. If they hold together, continue to just send out outflow boundaries, it may be able to set off some isolated pockets of downpours, but overall, not looking like we're going to see a lot of rain past sunset this evening. A current look at the Savannah River, courtesy of EarthCam. Not too bad here in Augusta this afternoon. The clouds have made it feel not all too bad, but it is very humid. Our heat index is still close to 100, even though we're sitting in the upper 80s. It is thanks to just those dew points in the mid to upper 70s for the most part. We are expecting lows to generally stay in the mid to low 70s tonight to early Tuesday. There could be some patchy dense fog to deal with for your morning commute tomorrow, so watch out for that if you're going to be up early. For your Wednesday afternoon, we're expecting seasonal highs in the low 90s across most of the board. Some lucky spots may be able to stay into the upper 80s another day. Now, for the rest of the week, we're expecting slightly lower storm chances at least through Thursday. It is going to be getting a little bit hotter, though, with highs reaching the mid to low 90s.
Riley, thanks. 48 hours with no internet. No problem, right? And you could win cash. We'll explain next. Kind of a shock to see the ship sinking in the ocean, but it's all part of a plan. These are pictures of the planned sinking of one section of a Japanese ship. This is way off the coast of Madagascar in the Indian Ocean. The ship was sunk after causing a big oil spill. It hit a coral reef back July the 25th. Started spilling oil August the 6th, but after recovering all that oil, they're working on plans now to sink the rest of the ship right there.
Roombas are getting even smarter now. The robot vacuums are getting the largest software upgrade it's ever had. The company that makes them, iRobot, is giving them an AI-powered brain. With that, officials say Roombas will now be able to map a person's home and use machine vision and built-in cameras to work around furniture. As the robot cleans, it will make suggestions to add them to an internal map as clean zones. Alrighty. Just what we wanted and needed. We've all seen those posts on Facebook saying things like, would you live in this cabin for a month with no internet?
Sounds great. A lot of people say, of course, but now you can actually try this. A Salt Lake City company wants to pay someone $1,000 to do what they're calling a 48-hour digital detox. You would go offline in an RV at one of America's national parks. Beautiful spots, right? They're not going to supply you with the RV, but they will reimburse you for the rental if you win. There's the big catch right there.
Yep, if you win. And anyone can sign up, and the $1,000 winner will be chosen at random. Then you're expected to share your digital detox offline experience online. And Richard, you were saying you could probably do this if the music thing, some kind of music streaming service was allowed.
I would miss music for a weekend, without that. But otherwise, the emails and all that stuff, yeah, no problem.
You could probably do it.
I could do without that for a weekend.
I couldn't. Nope, no way. Riley, how about you?
Oh, I definitely could. I would love every second of it. Now, we are not expecting much rain the next couple of days. Campbell will have some isolated downpours, but I'll give you the green light to watch the car at least through Thursday. Have another look at that full 7 day coming up.
Like and follow News 1226 on Facebook for the latest up-to-date coverage near you.
Here's a look at Hurricane Laura and what it's expected to do over the next couple of days. So this is looking at the European model, but most models are kind of coming together on what they think the storm is going to do. We're jumping ahead to Wednesday afternoon here. You can see it's getting closer to that Texas-Louisiana coastline. Landfall expected anytime from late Wednesday into early Thursday. And then this storm is going to weaken fairly quickly as soon as it gets over land, and then should be less menacing as we head towards the weekend. For us, less storm chances through Thursday, but it is going to stay hot and humid.
That's our time for now. News 12 at 6 o'clock starts in 3 minutes. See you there.
Every morning all over the country, our kids start